She's a real woman with a real life. She's someone you can relate to. Dawn Newton.
Hey, welcome to the Dawn Newton Podcast. I am your host, Dawn Newton. My guest today is Jasmine Warga. She is a Newbery Honor winning and #1 New York Times bestselling author. She's here to discuss her new book, which is for middle grade readers, The Unlikely Tale of Chase and Finnegan. It's inspired by true stories from zoos across the country, specifically the Cheetah Ambassador Program at the Cincinnati Zoo. The book is about how the power of friendship can transcend anything, even species. Thanks for the opportunity to talk with you and the book, The Unlikely Tale of Chase and Finnegan. Adorable. So much meaning to it. I know it's for 8 to 12-year-olds, but I'm sure hoping some adults join in and help read it to them, or they read it to the adults, because there's so many lessons in there, and I think it takes all of us, even as adults, back to our childhood, or even maybe our presenthood, if you will, where we don't always feel like we belong, or there's this odd couple component in our lives. So thank you for doing this work.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, that's really the goal, is hopefully the book brings people together, right? Whether a parent's reading the book aloud to their kids or a teacher sharing the book with their classroom, I hope it can be a book that lots of different age groups connect over.
Oh, absolutely, especially for kids. You know, it's those unlikely friendships that always seem to really captivate. It allows us to not only see ourselves in one of the characters, but then also look at how maybe we form too many judgments or opinions without really doing a deep dive or taking a minute to get to know someone else. So where did the idea come from for this? I mean, we've got Finnegan and Chase, we have a rescue dog and an orphan cheetah. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the idea came when I learned about real-life programs at zoos across the country where they really do bring shelter dogs, dogs that didn't formerly have a home or had lost their home, in to be the friend and companion and surrogate sibling of a cheetah. And they do this because cheetahs are kind of very fast, scaredy cats. They are wired for flight instead of fight, and they spook really easily. And in order for a cheetah to be able to share themselves with us, you know, run in front of us, be on display, which is so important for building awareness about how magnificent cheetahs are and all of the struggles cheetahs right now are facing in the wild, the dog helps the cheetah feel brave enough to be able to share themselves in that way. And I thought this was such a beautiful metaphor, right, for the power in becoming friends with somebody a little bit different than you, and also how our friends support us and they make us braver and they give us the strength to do things that we might not have believed that we could do.
Well, it is bringing these two unlikely animals together. I mean, I know I've seen it in real life, some of the videos and in zoos where they've done that, and I'm always like, oh my God, when it gets big, is it gonna eat its friend?
Yeah, no,
but it doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, kids ask all the time about that, and the cheetah's always a baby when the dog and cheetah meet, and so the dog really becomes like the cheetah's family, so it's always very safe for the dog. So they always do choose larger dog breeds like labs or shepherds. I heard it when I was doing research for the book and I was interviewing a trainer at the zoo. She was laughing and saying, you know, like a little terrier or a chihuahua probably wouldn't be the best fit for this program. So we're always looking for a dog that's sturdy enough to handle play, not only from a baby cheetah, but an adult cheetah as well.
And talk too about writing in the voice of an animal. Not only are you writing in the voice for young adults and for children, which that can be challenging too. That sometimes I feel is maybe more of a challenge than just writing for adults, but then also bringing those two voices together. Was that difficult? How did you do that? Is that just something you come natural by?
Yeah, no, that is. It was definitely the creative challenge of this book, right? The book is narrated by both Chase the cheetah and also Finnegan the dog, and I had to be really authentic to the way a cheetah experiences and observes the world and how a dog experiences and observes the world. And so I was thinking a lot about like a cheetah's physical senses, their physicality. A cheetah has a very flexible spine, which makes them so fast. They have these retractable claws that dig into the ground, but how to kind of build this out so the reader's going to really feel like they're inhabiting this body, what it would be like to inhabit this body, but also the language a cheetah would use. You know, if I could come up with a gorgeous description, but if that's not like a framework that a cheetah would have, I wasn't able to use it. And the same for Finnegan's perspective. So the nice thing about a dog is they're going to have a little bit more awareness of the human world, probably, because they've probably been around more humans, see more things, but they still experience the world quite differently than a human. A dog has a really, really powerful nose. And so for us human beings, we first interact with the world through our eyes, right? We notice what things look like, how big they are, what color they are. But a dog interacts with the world through its nose and what it smells like. And so that opened up a whole world of creativity for me, though, and being able to write from Finnegan's perspective and sort of describe the world through this like scent first mode.
And what has been the response? I mean, with children, when you're with the youngsters and going through the book, their feedback, because I know they're not shy about providing feedback.
Well, it's been really lovely so far. The book just came out on Tuesday, but I've done a lot of school visits, and kids are so excited for this story. I think kids naturally love animal stories. I think there's a lot of curiosity about animals. I think animals are easy to relate to for children because, like children, animals are often in a position where they aren't fully in control, right? They don't hold all the power, and I think that that's something that children relate to, and probably that little bit of wildness, too, right, is something that, as a young person, you relate to. And so the response has been super enthusiastic, either kids who can't wait to read the book or kids who stayed up all night reading the book and were really invested in this relationship between Chase and Finnegan.
And maybe kids don't pick up on it necessarily, but I certainly do, and I'm sure there's that underlying message, which is talking about loss and trust, that self-awareness and compassion. I mean, all these things that we want to instill in our children. Some of us come by it, they come by it naturally because the world is so new to them and they haven't been through the adulting like we have. But how has that, getting that message across, been received? Or maybe on another side of that is how that reflects maybe in your life as well.
Yeah, I really wanted to spark conversations, right, about how a really meaningful friendship is built on trust. And in order to develop trust, we have to be brave enough to sort of be vulnerable, to show our soft spots, our bruises, the parts of us that might hurt, the parts of us that we might be insecure about or might make us feel different from other people. But by sharing that with our friends, we really create this feeling of trust, and then that's how we can feel fully supported, right? And it can be really, really scary to open up, to be vulnerable. In this book, Finnegan's had a pretty traumatic past, and he's really nervous to share that with Chase because he's worried she's going to really judge him. And so a big part of the book is learning about how there can be so much power and beauty, and finally being willing to open up and trust that someone else is going to receive us just as we are.
And I think that's one of the beauties of the book is the fact that sometimes kids can't articulate what they're feeling. They don't know this is what it's called when I'm feeling this way. And so that's where I think the translation, bridging that gap between this book, Finnegan and Chase, to children when they're like, I feel the same way, or I see myself there, and that's what that is, and how do I resonate with that? How do I deal with it? I think you did such a beautiful job with that.
Well, thank you so much. That was certainly the goal, right? I really believe that books for young people can help build up our young people's emotional vocabulary, which will hopefully make it easier for them to express themselves. I always say when I write for young people, my goal is, to write an entertaining and moving story that hopefully they're going to enjoy and relate to, but more importantly than that, to help them to find their own voice, to know that their voice matters, and to learn how to express themselves, how they're feeling, how they feel about the world, and all of that. And so thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. And where can we go, Jasmine, to find the book and learn more about you and your work, current and other works you've done?
Yeah, so you can find the book in any bookstore. If you have a favorite local bookstore, if you like to buy your books online, it's available at any online retail place. And to learn more about me, you can visit me at my website, JasmineWarga.com. And you could also follow me on Instagram, Jasmine Warga Books. I post a lot there about my books and my writing process.
Well, again, congratulations on this work. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Dawn Newton podcast, and a special thank you to my guest, award-winning author Jasmine Warga, joining us today to discuss her new book, The Unlikely Tale of Chase and Finnegan. It's a beautiful story, the power of friendship and how it can transcend anything, even species. For more information about Jasmine and her work, JasmineWarga.com is the place to go, and be sure and visit my website, DawnNewton.com. The Dawn Newton podcast is written, produced, and hosted by Dawn Newton.